Hey, welcome everybody. It's Ted Padromo, and I'm here with Viveka von Rosen. How you doing?
I am most excellent. I'm so glad to be on this with you, the Ted
This is my first LinkedIn
Padromo.
Live in like maybe a year.
Oh, wow.
Took a
We're
little break.
coming in with a bang.
That's right. Because we're both shifting again. It's
I know.
like what, 10 or 15 years ago, we both became LinkedIn gurus, and now we're both shifting, and we found out
Exactly.
we're shifting in the same direction, but
I
it's men
I
and
love
women.
it. I love it.
It's awesome. So tell me about your new book. Let's start there.
Yeah, so there it is. Um yeah, so I've been doing the 101 series with my friend Dana for a while. And oh, look, it's purple and blue. Interesting. Anyway, it's not really. But I like the color scheme. Uh, so about a year ago, and there goes my monitor. Can you still see me?
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm just going to pretend I can see you too. About a year ago, I started feeling the confines of my job and wonderful company, Vengresso. Everyone should use our tool, Fly Message. Nothing wrong there. But I didn't feel like it was really what I was put on this earth to do. And so I was kind of thinking about like, what's next? What's next? And while there are a ton of books out there on entrepreneurship and starting your new business, there wasn't really anything written that I could find that was very digestible for people who are moving from that corporate executive business owner into entrepreneurship. And there's certainly nothing in it for women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. Now, the book itself, 101 Ways to Rock Change, the Successful Pivot from Executive to Entrepreneur, that is not specifically for women in their 50s and 60s and 70s. That's just me, and 80s. That one's for Joanne. Uh, but it addresses things like imposter syndrome. It addresses things like prioritizing self-care, as well as introducing GPT prompts you can use to update your LinkedIn profile, and the need for testimonials if you're especially starting in a new industry. So getting kind of testimonials that aren't industry specific but speak about you as a leader, etc. It talks about soft launching and your most valuable people who are in your community who can help you, getting SOPs. I mean, I was having this conversation with someone the other day. If you're going to 10x, great book. 10x is easier than 2x. If you're going to 10x your business, you need standard operating procedures so you can walk away from it. So there's a ton of good information in here, and I built it as a roadmap. I wrote it as a roadmap basically for myself. And now, of course, it's one that I use with my customers, clients, and hopefully someone out there will buy it too.
Yeah. That is such a big mixed message right now because I was laid off in the prime of
Yeah.
my career,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing more and more people that are too old, or they're just making too much money, or whatever. They've been
Yeah.
kicked out, but there's a huge whoops. Viveka disappeared. Well, she'll be back. Hold on. Here she comes.
Speaking of getting kicked out,
There you go.
it's
Perfect
like
timing.
it's like Google heard you and went, okay.
Disappeared. Well, that was interesting.
I did that on purpose.
So basically, yeah, people have been laid off. And I just read an article last week. There's serious brain drain in corporate America because they've gotten rid of all the people with the years of experience and knowledge.
Yeah.
And then the fastest growing segment is people over 75 now being hired back as consultants.
It is happening everywhere. It's really interesting. And I like Amazon's got this silent firing going on right now that, people are taking themselves out of their positions because they're just not even getting paid attention to. And then, yeah, to your point, then the company's like, oops,
Right.
maybe we should have done that.
So it's such a mixed message, but
It
your
is.
odds of actually going through a corporate career now and retiring on your terms are almost zero.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was and oh, see, I'm forgetting it again. Oh, I was trying to think of the word. See, I can't even think of it, and I had it and then I lost it again, which maybe is why some people are being let go because they can't think of words. But, we're yeah, the idea of having, like, an actual pension, that's the word.
Yeah,
I mean, our parents had pensions, but us, no. So why are we just clinging on and serving companies that don't even care about us? Or why are we hanging on to our own companies that aren't serving us anymore? There's there's just no reason to there's no reason for this loyalty to things which are not loyal to us.
right. Yeah, we just kind of hit that wall in my
Yeah.
business too. It's kind of like, oh, it's just, I'm doing this for 15 years
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. It's
And
funny, when I started Vengresso, I was at that point because I had LinkedIn to business for about 15 years, and I was just like, "I can't do another LinkedIn profile, I just can't." And so then we formed Vengresso, which started out as a training company, as LinkedIn training company, well, social selling training company. And then we pivoted to software, and that was a good indication to me that, okay, now's your opportunity again to exit because what do I know about software? So, but a lot of people are finding that themselves in that position where their own companies maybe have shifted so much that they just don't feel at home. They don't feel they have a place there anymore. And certainly for those of us who had jobs, even as executives, even as high level executives, we
yeah,
find ourselves just not fitting anymore.
yeah. And if you're not satisfied, we're looking for that stage of life. It's about, what legacy we want.
Yes.
How can we stay involved and active, stay
Yeah.
mentally sharp?
Yeah. Yeah. So you remember words like pension.
Right. Exactly.
Well, no, that's exactly true. And I mean, I noticed for me, once I turned 55, I realized there really is only so much more time left. My mom died at, I think, 80, 81. So if I'm lucky, and our generation is not outlasting our parents, right? So if I'm lucky, I've got 25 good years left, and actually 20 good years left.
Yeah.
That was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to make the most of those 20-ish years that I've got left." None of this slaving away, killing my health, working 80-hour weeks for something that's not even serving me in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. The runway's getting shorter for
It
us.
is for sure.
I ran into an old friend a couple months ago, and we got on a call after like 10 years.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, what are you going to do for the next 20 years?" I said, "Well, I was thinking retire in the next couple of years." He goes,
Yeah.
"No, you got to think 20 years out. I'm your age. And if you don't think, what are you going to do for the next 20 years?
Yeah.
You're going to just wither away."
Yep.
And that
We
kind of hit
gotta
me like a
stay
ton of
yeah, we gotta
bricks.
keep our minds sharp. I love what you s yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, sure, if you're gonna like, don't do what I did and, like, literally turn off one profile and turn on the other, right? But, take a couple months, travel around the world, visit your grandkids, eat the bonbons, whatever it is. But, yeah, just playing golf or pickleball, for the rest of my life, like, bleh.
I watched my parents and in-laws do that. They said, "Well,
Right, right. Right,
gonna
and
win."
then they get an injury to where they can't play golf or pickleball or whatever, and now suddenly that was their life, so they're gone.
Yeah.
They wither away and they are gone so quickly. It's really sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I did some testing of phrases last year.
Yeah,
Basically run ads and see what people click on.
yeah,
I thought people got laid off at this stage. They had a mortgage to pay. They had, bills to pay. They had to make money.
right.
They did not click on any of those ads
Yeah,
ever. It was more about maintain my skills, stay relevant,
mhm.
stay engaged, be part of a community,
Yeah,
socialization.
yes, yes. Well, especially so many of us have virtual careers, and so unless we have a rich network of friends, and all of my friends are online, unless we have a rich network of local friends, once we stop working, like all of a sudden we've lost our entire community, and our community is so crucial. So create a new community, make sure you've got a crossover community when you're in that liminal zone, or make some local friends, right?
Right.
But yeah, that community is so key. And as we get older, if our community is the same ages as us, it starts to shrink too. So that's where it's good having, a community that is global and has access to so many different types and ages of people.
Yeah. A friend of mine, we went to this networking group for like 20 years. It was a
Yeah.
local networking group and was like, great. Then the pandemic hit and it went virtual.
Yeah.
And then after it, they tried to bring it back. And we had
Yeah.
like 3 meetings and nobody was showing up. It's like, it was sad.
Yeah, it's really sad, but virtual's too easy.
Yeah.
We don't have to commute, we don't have to put pants on, and
But the
but I
level of
love the live
engagement wasn't
events.
the same. It just
Yeah,
didn't, once we got back and saw people in person, I was like, oh,
yeah,
this is so much better.
yeah, yeah. That's good. So the virtual didn't go. The
The
live
virtual
event
did
kept going.
well, but it had 40 or 50 people would be on the
Yeah,
calls,
yeah,
but everybody's in their little box and they were doing other stuff. You could tell they
yeah,
were
yeah, yeah,
engaged in the meeting. But when you're sitting having coffee with people or having breakfast with people,
yeah.
it was just such a nice feeling. But unfortunately, they could only get like 10 or 15 people to show up.
Got it. Yeah, I know. I just, I miss the in-person, and then I sign up for in-person events, and then I get busy, and then I don't go to the in-person events. So
Right. Or a snowstorm hits and you don't want to drive in it.
yeah, well, yeah, no kidding. They only hit Snowstorms only hit in Colorado when I have to drive to an appointment or to a meeting. So if you wanna know when it's gonna snow, just check out my calendar. I swear it is like it happens too often to be coincidental.
Yeah. So tell me about your new direction, like who you're working with, how you're helping them.
Yeah, so I'm essentially working with myself. No, I am, what I discovered though in deciding to make the pivot and looking for resources to support me is there wasn't a lot out there for my specific age group and my specific industry and genre, et cetera. So I work with women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s to free themselves from their current roles as executives, business owners, etc., when those roles no longer fit, when those roles feel too tight and too constraining. I help them free themselves and then move into whatever it is that their true calling is. Interestingly enough, I mean, I don't put this on my website. I only want to work with people, authors and speakers, or people who want to be authors and speakers. But that is what I'm attracting. All of my clients are definitely want to speak, and most of them are wanting to write books, so or have written books. My one message to the world is women's words change the world, because I really do feel like I think it was Gandhi who talked about older women being our, I forget what the actual quote is because I'm 55, but but, but basically, older women being our saviors, our saving grace. And so yeah, my intention is to get these women's voices out there. And I have everything from a trauma therapist to lawyers to motivational speakers to rocket scientists. I mean, I've got such a wide spread of women in different industries, but they're all wanting to build a new career, based on what they're really passionate about, as opposed to what the world has told them they should do for the past 50, 60 years.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
shifting from I'm working a job to make money to
Yeah.
I want to do what I love doing.
Yeah, exactly, and leave a legacy. And what's interesting is there's 2 common themes that come up. The one is I'm exhausted. I just can't freaking possibly I just cannot do another business. But that's because we're still in the constraints of our old world, and that's very, very heavy. So a lot of the work we do is freeing them from that. And then all of a sudden there's all of this energy and all of this joy and like, okay, I want to go do it. But the other thing I don't want my women doing is spending 70, 80, 90 hours a week building their new business, because it is about having a holistically balanced life. And so it's finding ways to build their business without having to be in it constantly. One of my favorite books, also by the authors of 10X is Easier Than 2X, Dan Sullivan, is Who Not How. And it's about delegation, but it's kind of like next level delegation. It's not like it's not about just hiring a VA and a bookkeeper. It's once you've got your business plan, your roadmap, now who can you hire to really help you facilitate that, from coaches to COOs or even fractional COOs who can take care of the business and really help you grow it without you having to invest, like I said, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And then another thing that comes up a lot, and I think all of us feel this to some extent, but certainly when we're pivoting out of where, a position where we were literally known as, in our case, right, the LinkedIn experts.
Right.
So leaving that behind, and now I'm like, oh, I'm a coach now. So I am 100% the perfect person to coach my clients because I've been through it.
Yeah.
But there is that part of me that's like, but who am I to do that? I don't have 60,000 coaching designations and I don't have experience in blah, blah, blah. But there is no one but me who can do this with my audience.
Yeah.
And there are other people who can do it for their audience, and you'll be doing it with your audience because we are doing something very, very similar. And I love that because the whole world needs to shift. So there are more than enough clients for all of us.
Yeah.
And my friend Deborah Eckerling, I think you know Deborah, she succinctly put it, it's the dog whistle. My audience will hear me. Not that my audience is dogs, but my audience will hear me. Your audience will hear you. And I think that's really important to know. And it really helps to assuage some of that imposter syndrome, because if you don't speak and you don't get out there and, you don't put your words out there, then there is a whole segment of society that is not going to be able to move forward because they were listening for your voice and they didn't hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I realized last year. I was attracting all these people and they were looking for something, but
Yeah.
I was teaching them all this technical stuff, which was
Yeah.
way over their heads.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So kind of we're sharing our knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
Maybe don't even call it coach anymore because coach
Right.
is so watered down and it's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
used to be a cool term when you're in 2001.
Yeah. Exactly.
When I got
Yeah.
certified, I was like, "Oh, you're a coach? Ooh."
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh
And now
God, you're
everyone's a
a
coach.
coach."
Well, and it's the old idiot, like those who can't do teach. Which is where, again, all of my clients, myself, we are teaching because of what we have done.
Yeah.
Like, we've done it, we've been successful, or we're going through it and we're successful. But people, we think about, oh, I can't do it, so I'm going to teach it. And to me, I mean, especially back in the early 2000s, there were so many like wealth coaches and abundance coaches, like practically living in their cars. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
eh. But no, but by the time we reach our age, we really do have some valuable experience. And we
Right.
really do have things we can share that will help people improve their lives.
I heard a quote years ago. It's like your first third of your life, you're learning.
Yep.
Then the third is you're doing, and then you're
Yeah.
teaching.
Yep. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, that's what we're calling it, our third act, right? Our encore, our third act.
Right.
It's because it's our job now as the elder to teach. And that's it's always been that way, with it's just kind of always been that way. But we've so discounted in this culture our elders, of
Yeah.
which I am now an elder. Oh my God.
Whatever that means.
I know. I'm an elder, but not a crone.
Right.
I'm not quite ready to accept my croneship.
Exactly.
There's a blog post in that.
Right. So how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, here on LinkedIn is probably the best. One of the things when I pivoted from LinkedIn expert to Viveka von Rosen, one of the most symbolic acts that I did was literally changing my LinkedIn URL from linkedin.com/in/LinkedIn expert to linkedin.com/in/Viveka von Rosen. And yeah, if you just type in Viveka von Rosen on LinkedIn, obviously I'm going to show up. That's probably the best way. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. Let me know you saw this live wherever you saw it, and I would be more than happy to connect with you.
And you have a brand new website. What's the URL?
I have a brand new website, is beyondyourdreamboard.com. I, we, at our ages, most of us have almost everything we ever wanted. We've got the houses, the cars, the spouses. We might have had and lost some of them. The little cute grandbabies, the things, and yet many of us are not feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
Which is why beyond the dream board is like, what is beyond that dream board? Because you got it all and you're not happy. So what's beyond that? So beyondthedreamboard.com, you can also find me there.
And your book is on Amazon and your website?
And my book is on Amazon and on my website, 101 Ways to Rock Change.
Thank you, Viveka. It's been great catching up with you.
You too. Thanks so much.
Okay.